Hi, good morning. So the lesson that I'm going to conduct today is called Mirror, Mirror, and it's adapted from chapter 15 in the More Picture Perfect Science Lessons book. The focus is second grade, and the materials you're going to need are, you're going to need doubles of everything because we're going to do groups, 2 small groups and each bigger group. So anyway, you need a nice envelope like that, clearly marked with an envelope. 2 flashlights, make sure they have fresh batteries. It's always really important. Don't want to get there and have your flashlights go out. Make sure you have 3 to 5 sheets of tin foil crinkled up. You can also crinkle them up more when you get into the classroom. They don't have to be 5 by 5 like the textbook says, but it's always nice to have a little bit extra just in case, so keep that in mind. And then, last but not least, 2 really shiny metal spoons. And you can shine those up if you need to. It will help make the lesson go a lot smoother. You don't have to do it during the lesson then. Okay, so for engaging my students, the first thing that I'm going to do in order to engage my students, I will explain that light travels in different ways using different objects. Students will investigate how light reflects differently off of different types of surfaces and find out why mirrors are really the best surfaces for seeing themselves and other objects. I will next give my students a little background knowledge. I don't think it's fair to go right into the lesson without giving them a little prior knowledge. I need to be building that constantly, so I think it's really important. So this background knowledge I'm going to give includes light is an essential part of our everyday lives. Without it, we wouldn't be able to see or do anything that's really important. The meaning of the term reflection, usually younger elementary school age kids use the term bounce when they're talking about reflection. Oh, they said the light bounces off the window or the mirror, but I really want students, when I'm teaching, I really want students to be able to use higher level words, really scientific words is what I'm looking for. Also, light is actually absorbed by the molecules in the mirror and sent back as a reflection, so it's really the molecules that are bouncing off. Also, I will review with them the law of reflection, which means when something bounces off a perfectly flat surface, the angle at which it hits the surface will be equal to how it bounces off. Also, something that has to do with that, a mirror reflects light in a similar way because its surface is flat and smooth. And this is something that the students will figure out during my lesson. Also, last but not least, a curved mirror should be thought of having a large amount of tiny little mirrors placed at slightly different angles. I'll piece together the difference between a very, very flat surface and a curved surface or a crinkled surface, something that reflects. The difference is that the image that we see is distorted, and the shiny spoon experiment that we're going to do at the very end of the lesson will really exemplify that. Lastly, to engage my students, I will give them the mystery envelopes and this riddle. And don't forget, these are the mystery envelopes. We're going to find out what's inside them. Okay, so the riddle I'm going to tell them is, it is flat, it is shiny, it can follow your every move, it contains something lovely, good-looking, and amazing. What is it? Obviously, it's going to be a mirror, but they're going to reach inside. Every envelope is going to have a little bit different of a mirror. This one's kind of small, has a nice round mirror, circular mirror, but it does the job. So you need nice flat mirrors for this, no curved yet. Really not at all for this lesson, but that's what you need. And so after that, and they open their mystery envelope to see what type of mirror they have, I will have them watch a Bill Nye video on light reflection and refraction. The link for the Bill Nye video will be included underneath this lesson. And I know time is a limiting factor for this lesson, but even if you just watch the first 5 minutes, it's very informative and will really help clarify a lot of concepts for the kids. So that's really important. That's why I thought it was important to put it in there. Okay, so after they do watch part of that video or all of it, depending on time, the students should be able to answer, what do you see when you look in the mirror, and how do objects look in them? And what predictions do you have about light, and how light will reflect off of different surfaces? Okay. So, for the next section, the Explore section, I'm going to give students a few minutes to walk around the room to see if they can find the reflection in anything. Walk around and use the door, a glass, something. And then after they're done, I'm going to have them sit back in their seats, and then I'm going to ask, in which things could you see yourself? What do these things have in common? Were your reflections in the objects around the room as clear as they were in the mirror? And why do you think the mirror gave a clearer reflection? So next, after that, I'm going to turn down the lights, and I'm going to have students shine the flashlights provided on their mirrors and observe where the beam of light goes. The questions after this activity I'm going to ask are, does the light go through the mirrors, and does the light reflect? So again, I want the students to be able to use that, that higher level term. So after that, I am going to keep the room dark, and I'm going to pass out, okay, I talked about before, the mirror challenge worksheet. That's what that looks like. There's a couple activities on there, especially this one where they have to figure out what that word says using the mirror. Obviously, we know it's reflect, but something that's really fun for them. Okay. And while they're completing that worksheet, I'll have students talk about what they think, and they can share their ideas and predictions, what they think is exciting with their partner. For the explain section, again, like I said, I'm going to review the Mirror Challenges worksheet, and then the answers will be discussed as a whole class. I will then explain that if the room was dark and no flashlights were around or even existed, there will be no light to reflect. We can't see anything without light. I will then review these 4 questions with the students. Why are mirrors the best objects for seeing yourself? In what order to see yourself do you need? Excuse me. In order to see yourself, you need what? It's a better way to word it. When a ray of light hits a mirror, what happens? And last but not least, why can't you see yourself in a sweater or a page of a book? Okay, so the elaborate section. For this section, I will ask the students, have you ever looked into a funhouse mirror, or one that made your reflection look really, really weird or funny? And what did it look like? And this is where I'm going to have the students start applying what they've learned in the beginning of the lesson to now, and starting to think about what would happen if a mirror was bent, or why a bent mirror made them look funny. Next, I'm going to have the students complete the second worksheet, which is the Silly Spoons worksheet. And again, for this, you're going to need those nice shiny spoons. You're going to need those shiny spoons, your mirrors, and the squares of crinkled aluminum foil, like we talked about earlier. And then the students are going to complete the activities on the sheet using all those materials. And then they're going to maybe do like a think, pair, share thing with each other, and talk about what they found and what they thought was really, really cool or exciting, because you know, that's really how kids learn. It's what keeps kids learning. So that's what I really want for them. So I want to do fun problems and worksheets like this to get the wheels turning, but also having fun at the same time, applying meaning but enjoying it as well. Okay. So after that elaborate section, for evaluating the whole lesson and all the activities, the findings, I'm going to discuss those in class as a whole group. And then the answers will be reviewed, make sure everyone has the right answers down. For assessing the students individually, I'm going to assess them on their answers, their oral answers to my guided questions during the lesson, and then I'm going to also review their written answers on the mirror challenges and silly spoon worksheets. And that is how the lesson is going to be conducted, and I can't wait for it to start. So yes, that was the Mirror Mirror lesson from More Science Lessons. See ya.